Hi there, my name is Amanda Salazar and I'm the owner of Edge Fitness. We're a small box gym business in Tumwater, Washington. The question I have for you today is about the future financial support for small businesses going into this fall and as we enter 2021. Right now, as small businesses, we're getting some funding here and there from grants and assistance programs that's helping us with our bills as gyms are currently closed, not allowed to operate, but we still have these monthly expenses still rolling in that we're not able to get out of. But as we go back into business, hopefully sometime soon, even though that's uncertain, when we do, it's going to be slow. There's going to be restrictions. It's going to be a challenge for us to get some of our old members back and trying to get new members in, etc. So how are you going to help us, or are there going to be programs put into place to continue to help small businesses as they're coming back into business so we can actually not just survive but thrive as we come out of this and stay alive for all of us in our community?
All right, thank you. Representative Wilcox?
Well, that is probably one of the more important questions out here now. And as Larry mentioned a moment ago, the state of Washington is looking at this point at $6 or $7 billion hit to revenue, and it could get a lot worse. In fact, normally you don't see revenue forecasts reverse themselves. They tend to move in the same direction. In this case, that would be worse. And so that's why the federal government has taken on most of the relief efforts. And there is a lot of money coming into the state, and there is a certain amount from the feds, and there is a certain amount of discretion there. We don't know how those strings work at this point. Maybe Larry does. I don't yet, and how those might be modified in the future. I, for one, since I think in this state we often put more blockades and roadblocks in the way of small business, ought to take the lead this time in getting as many of those roadblocks cleared out. And if that means some level of assistance to the smallest businesses, I'd like to try to find budget room for that. But there's going to be a lot of competing needs in the budget. And I think the more business people can do to work together in organized groups and make sure that we understand that without them in the economy, we don't have an innovation and growing economy again. And that directly impacts the resources available to the government. That's your best way of securing action from the legislature.
All right, Representative Springer?
So there's a number of approaches here to that we're considering to try and help small businesses. About a month or so ago, JT had a team of members from his caucus. I led a team of members from my caucus, and we coordinated our effort at making some suggestions to the governor's office on businesses, how they could reopen. I sense that effort is shifting a little bit now because we've got a fairly locked in 4-phase process. What we're trying to look at now is, are there tax policy changes we can make or regulatory reform legislation we can adopt either in a special session or in 2021 when we're back in January. I'll give you an example. Don't know that this is going to work, but it would help if we could give businesses 1 quarter off from paying payroll taxes. Now, maybe they would have to make that up, a year or so later when they're back on their feet, but it might be a way to give them a little hedge as they try to restart their businesses. That, of course, whenever you suggest something like that, that means a cost to the state for benefits that might have to be paid out. But that's the balancing act that we're looking at. I know members of JT's caucus, Andrew Barkus and Gina Mossbrucker, and I have had conversations about that. And so it's something that we're still working on, and maybe there will be some legislation that'll be proposed when we come back.